If Black people have human rights, that will impact every single population in the United States. I'm Rukia Lumumba. I'm the founding director of the People's Advocacy Institute and co-director of the Electoral Justice Project of the Movement for Black Lives. My definition of human rights is the rights of people across this world to have access to their basic needs, which includes the needs that keep us safe, healthy, and whole. Traditionally, civil rights here have been the rights that allow you access. In the 60s, Black people couldn't go into certain hotels or certain restaurants. Well, through civil rights, we have the right now to enter any building. So human rights are the right for you to be even recognized as a human being, which we haven't seen in the United States for that long. There was a time when Black people were really considered 3/5 of a person. What people don't recognize is that absolutely, Black people, we are in a horrible situation in this country as it relates to human rights. You see that in economic oppression that is happening, in voter disenfranchisement. The criminal system, there's also a burden around healthcare. We saw this with COVID. We see that Black people are more susceptible because of all of the chronic illnesses that we experience as a result of the stress and as a result of the unhealthy environments that we're forced to live in the United States. I don't think that some people view the movement for Black lives as a human rights movement and issue. Because one, I don't think that majority of those people have experienced some of the horrors that we are discussing. The fact that someone can literally be killed, can be smothered to death, choked to death, knee on the neck by a police officer, even though they saw it on TV, is still unreal to them. I think for other folks, it's easier to ignore or to say that it doesn't exist because it allows them to continue living their life in the way that they feel has been beneficial to them. I think you're disrupting the status quo. I've been living my life over here. I've been able to achieve whatever I've needed to achieve. You need to just play that game. But what we know is that that's not true for the majority of folks in America. That's not true for the majority of Black folks in America. You can play by all of the rules of the American system and still find yourself harmed and hurt. So this is absolutely a human rights issue. And unfortunately, until it knocks on the front doors of some of these folks who are refusing to acknowledge it, we're going to have to keep being out there in the streets. We don't want pain to come to the majority of people. What we want is for people to recognize that there is a problem, and that until all of us are treated with the equity and provided the resources that we need to live good quality of lives, then none of us can be sitting around ignoring the real problems that exist, ignoring that this is a human rights movement. We have to educate the masses of our people around what human rights are. Right now, we're still stuck in a civil rights framework, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I see more people beginning to consider human rights and beginning to understand and learn more about what that is and why it's important to our movement. We have to motivate people and help them understand that through our agitation, through our actions in the street, as well as in the city halls, that we can actually move our electeds and our policies towards one that recognize human rights as more important in this country. We got to organize our folks to ensure that we are pushing hard for human rights everywhere that Black people exist so that we can see some campaign wins around it and hopefully to create a more anti-racism human rights movement that has not only a Pan-Africanist view, but has a view that includes Black people from all over, wherever we live and exist. And I think that's important, and I look forward to that day because it's coming soon.